Right for a minute, please, while they look up the audio visual, please. Great, thanks, Di. Right, so with that, I'll declare the council meeting open at 1 o'clock. And welcome everybody, councillors, staff, and guests here for their submissions. To those attending by Zoom, welcome to the meeting. We will move on to the karakia, which today we have Councillor Phelps reading for us. Thank you.
Kia ora, te marino, kia whakapapapanamu, te moana, te urahai, mā tātou I te rangine, aroha atu, aroha mai, tātou I a tātou katoa hue, taiki e.
Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Right, so apologies, we have none, which is wonderful. So we'll move from there straight through to the declarations of interest. Again, just a document that needs to be updated and kept updated, so if anything changes with what you've committed to it, please ensure you keep that up to date. We have no urgent items on the agenda, so we'll move forward to the minutes of meetings previous. And the first one on the list is the ordinary council meeting minutes of 30th of January 2025. The resolution is that the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on 30th of January 2025 be confirmed as a true and correct record of the meeting. I will move for a seconder, please. Councillor Bird and Councillor Gillett, thank you very much. All in favour?
Aye.
Carried. And I confirm or approve that my digital signature be added to the confirmed ordinary council meeting minutes of 30 January 2025. Thank you. There's no minutes to be received from standing committees. So we will move straight on to the action list and ask Barb, Chief Executive, to speak to the action list, please. Thanks, Barb.
Thank you, Your Worship, councillors. I think in terms of the council meeting action list, the items except for item 5 are all future facing, so unless there's any questions on those. Item 5, I just want to check. We were asked to provide some clarity around an item that was presented in the January council report identifying an emergency road. We put that information to you, that it was for Jackson's Bay Road and that it can be fully claimed back. Is there any further request for information on that? Otherwise, if it's sufficient, I'll consider it closed. Thank you. And can I just, for the council's awareness, what I have made a slight change to the administration of the action list. For those items that are closed and require no further action, I've asked that they are put into a table labelled closed items, and they'll be kept for reference for any further reference. But they won't just remain sitting on the action list.
Thanks, Barb. Any questions for Barb, please? No? Right. So the resolution is the updated action list from the Chief Executive be received. Do I have a move into a seconder, please? Councillor Beard, thank you very much. Councillor Phelps, thank you. Favour? Thank you. Yeah, are we jumping to presentations? Yes. So we're going to swap items 7 and 8 around. We're going to have the submissions on the draft West Coast Waste Management and Minimisation Plan first, and then we'll drop back to Jan and Kate's presentation regarding federal funding. So Earl, please, I will hand over to you.
Good afternoon, Your Worship, councillors.
Oh, do I? Okay, sorry, I've just been made aware that we need to move into a seconder to juggle those two positions around on the agenda. So thank you, Councillor Beard. Councillor Phelps, thank you. That's just authorising, recognising officially that we've just moved items 7 and 8 around on the table.
That's all right, still for a second.
Sorry?
That's all right, Neil, still for a second.
Oh, no, only got one. Thank you, Earl, sorry.
That's right. This is regarding the Regional Waste Minimisation Management Plan. We've got some public speakers here today for submissions through the councillors. Just please note that this is an acceptance of the plan, and depending on what the council decides to do, there could be some financial implications that go along with any changes that are made to it. So that'll come along later once we've deliberated and decided where to next. Any questions?
Questions for Earl, please?
Earl, Anga Perkins alluded to wanting to speak to her submission.
Yes, I'll arrange a meeting with her at a later stage to make the questions.
And she's happy for that instead of presenting to us. Thank you.
Councillor Neil also brought up some points on the report, which I will clarify at the later stage.
Right, questions, please? Yes,
Not actually a question, or a comment.
Comment.
Commission. We can't read a horse to water, but questions is hardly resounding.
No.
Representation of West Coast Beauty.
No, it's not. Quite agree. Quite agree.
It doesn't minimise the ones that have, however, it shows possibly lack of interest with the others
Yes.
and the lack of confidence that their voices get listened to sometimes.
That's a presumption.
Or sheer indifference. We're all speculating for the exact thousands of people who listen to this matter. I don't think anyone can assume it's being pretty off the premise.
Through your worship, that endpoints trying to minimise those who did put in the submission. But if, for instance, the majority of them had submitted in favour of curbside household food waste collections, for instance, that even though the could have been 90% of them of the submitters that were in favour of that, that doesn't mean that the West Coast ratepayers are towing the line on that. That's my point.
Yes, Councillor Glenn.
Through the chair, I'm not sure how to action this report because the recommendation doesn't make it clear what we are supposed to do. What I would expect is that there'd be a summary of the submissions and some sort of linkage to the management plan, so we know whether those submissions do actually affect the plan. How are we supposed to know whether we're changing anything in the plan? I would expect a report that says the submissions recommended this is already covered in the plan, so no change required, or no, this would require a change, therefore this is what the team would need to consider. So I'm not sure how at the end of these deliberations we are changing the plan or not.
Councillor Glenn, it was summarised right through the presentation in different stages and behind the graphs. There was a summarisation plus also a summarisation of the comments that followed through as well. So, but yeah, I do understand the comparison between this versus what we've been doing in the past. There's a relevance there.
I understand that as well. So you're probably quite right. If we're going to add additional services, it will add additional funds. Additional services.
Because I think what's important is that it's, although it's as Nigel has said, is that there's poor probably return on the numbers, but it's actually the information that they've come through with is what we really need to look at and think about going forward, because it's actually the valued comments. And I sort of, when I read it, I sort of thought, would this be a sentiment out in the wider sector? And I actually believe that the majority of those comments passed would be. So that gives us a fairly good direction on.
To get to that, once the council have decided if they want to investigate alternative services, etc. This isn't being adopted as yet, it's just for public consultation and council advice, I can go away and provide that.
Yep. And that potentially, I think, is probably the next step to receiving this, hearing our submitters today, and then we bring that together to look at how that sits as a comparison. So again, making informed decisions going forward. Thank you.
Sorry, through the chair, I still can't see the linkage from the feedback to what is currently in the plan from these graphs. Yes, there's a summary of the issues that are raised, but where does that link to what's currently covered in the plan?
That's what we were just talking about, is that he can bring that back to us, because this is about hearing the submissions today and receiving the information and then that's really the next step of the process. Because we're not making decisions, we're receiving the submissions, hearing submitters, and then authorising or sanctioning that staff go away and do that next stage of work. Councillor Kesson.
With you meeting Inga outside of this setting, how do you propose that's going to drive change? She's obviously got a strong submission forward. It's a very large area of her passion and expertise. Is that going to come back to us?
Yes.
And I'll go away and come back again.
I will address her concerns and then bring them to council.
Any further questions, comments? No? Right, so I'll move on to the recommendations. Point 1 is that council received a report. 2, that council hear and receive the written and verbal submissions. 3, that council deliberates on the submissions to the draft West Coast Regional Waste Management and Minimisation Plan in the open part of the meeting. And 4, instruct staff to make desired amendments to the draft West Coast Regional Waste Management and Minimisation Plan based on the submissions, if applicable. And 5, instruct staff to bring the final draft West Coast Regional Waste Management and Minimisation Plan to council for adoption. Councillor Beard, thank you very much. Councillor Gillett, thank you very much. All in favour? Aye, carried. Yes. Thank you. Right, so we will move into submissions. Yes, yes. So with that, we invite Mr. Morgan to come forward and present his submission. Sorry, yes.
No.
Oh, we've got
Show and tell.
Show and tell as well, eh? And unlike last time, I've written some notes. Can I ask, has anybody been to any other landfill apart from Butler's landfill since reading this document?
Reading this document, I haven't, I can say, but.
That's yourself, anybody else? Right, so I can't suggest what you do, but it would be in somebody's interest, or two people's interest, to pop across the hill to Cape Valley, to the landfill there, and really see what can be done to future-proof waste and its minimalisation. All right? So that's a suggestion. Secondly, has anybody ever seen this film? No? You can get it from the library, that's where I got it from. It's all about landfill, toxic waste, and what happens when corporate greed, not saying it's corporate greed here, but if corporate greed gets in charge of landfills and poisons not only the waterways but the people. So get it out the library, go down the cinema, sit in the Reynolds room, you can all watch it together. It's illuminating. We got it out on a whim, and then when I watched it, couldn't believe it. It's really illuminating as to what happens if corporate greed gets into waste. Leave that with you for later on. Right, burying waste as a future isn't the future, is it? We've been burying waste here since the boundaries of Westland were created when it was Canterbury in 1853. That's 172 years. And here we are, 172 years later, we're still burying waste. We're still going to bury waste. There's no, look to the future. We've always done it this way, but why? Why are we still going to bury waste when there's future technologies out there that we can use today? And I know some people are already thinking, oh God, he's going to talk about waste, energy waste, which I am. Because we can't bury our heads in the sand. We can't just keep on burying the waste. It's not going to work. It's not going to work for me, and it's not going to work for you. It's not going to work for your grandchildren. It's not going to work for anybody, because we've done it for too long already. When it comes to the ratepayers, it's not always our fault. You're being screwed by the government. Everybody knows that. You then turn to the ratepayer to pick up the loss of the finances. The ratepayer blames the council. It's not the council, it's not the ratepayer. One, it's the government taking away your funding, And two, it's people like you will count down pack and say, with all the packaging that we do not need, it's Easter coming up, you're going to get an egg in a wrapper, an egg in a plastic box, and an egg in a box, and a plastic box, and a wrapper. That's not my fault, that's not your fault, that's the government's fault for not getting onto them to minimalise waste. We're the victims. The ratepayers are the victims. You're the victim because the government's screwing you over. You screw me over by charging me more, and then they get away with it. Every time. It's nobody's fault here. Fault lies over there at those shops. In reality. When it comes to bins, I've read online, and we've all read online, that some ratepayers want smaller bins. Some ratepayers want bigger bins. So why can't we have smaller and bigger bins like they have in other councils? An 80-litre bin in one council is $145.24 a year. A 120-litre bin is $174.77 a year. And a 240-litre bin is $290.09 a year. Available. All you have to do is go on their website and request it. Bigger, smaller, medium, whatever you want. I'd have a smaller one because there's only two of us. Somebody in my street will have a larger one. But at the end of the day, you're still getting the same amount of money through the door because they want twice what I'm getting. I mean, I haven't even put out my recycling bin this year. The last time I put it out was at Christmas. I don't put my waste out. I haven't put it out this week, it would go out in the next fortnight. But I'm still paying double for a collection. You know what I mean? I'm only getting it collected once a month because I've got a too big a bin for what I'm being built for. So can you think about it? You know, putting out there that there are other sizes and other values available. Other councils are doing it. But, you know, we've got to help each other. Well, yes, here we go. This will raise a few eyebrows. Waste to energy, hey? You can hear the sharp intake of breath in the room, hey? Right, I've worked in waste management. It's biogas. It's not burning it, it's not great big plants, it's naturally made biogas that comes from the waste in the ground. When the landfill is created, you put in pipes, the pipes go to a chimney sucks it up, it goes to the plants are about the size of a 20-foot ISO container. And when I worked at Whitford in Auckland, they were about $1 million a pop, but that was 8 or 9 years ago. So Red Vale, Northern Auckland, gets 50% of Auckland's waste daily. It produces enough biogas via the methane to power 14,000 homes annually. And this is a 30-year project. Taylor Tonkin are involved in that. And so it's powering, at the moment, 14,000 homes. That's the 9th biggest gas extraction in New Zealand, in one landfill. Then you move down to Whitford, where I was associated with, and they were making 5,000 homes worth, plus all the liquid was treated on site, so there was no liquid contamination. And the liquid that couldn't be treated, the waste within the treatment of the water, the liquid went back in the landfill, was leached through again and just went to the circular thing. So waste management in those two plants were collecting 90% of all methane and turning it into power fire. Tiaroa in the Waikato, the same again. It's one of the Southern Hemisphere's leading biogas extraction sites for methane. And then we move down to Wellington, the green capital with the green mayor. They've got one, a waste to energy plant, biogas again, powering at the moment 1,200 homes, but they're up in their production as they get into it more. And so here in the South Island, we pop across to Cape Valley again, and this is world leading. 95% of all methane at that plant is extracted, and it currently powers 2,000 homes, with the world's best practice being 90%. They also treat their leachates, which are either evaporated or returned to landfill and just goes through the cycle. So we can future-proof the minimalisation of waste. All right? All we're doing currently is going to dig a bigger hole, go with somebody else, and then have their waste as our problem. If we're going to do that in the short term, I can live with that. But we've got to do something about the methane. Because you get the greenies, and a cow farts methane, the greenies have an orgasm. You go down, you go down to a landfill where the methane's being piled into the fresh air, you don't see a green heap of dust. If they were so green, why aren't these sites complaining it's waste of energy? They're not, because a cow can't answer back. But you pick it, a waste management site, and it's soon be put out. You know what I mean? It's hypocrisy, some of it. Right. What's this? That's 50% of me if I'm incinerated.
So the links behind that table, or?
You know what I mean. So yeah, so if I go to the crematorium, that's 50% of what you get back. That's about £5.5 of sand. I would be about £9 of waste. But if you have an incinerator incinerating your waste, you imagine you've got a big hole in the ground and you're burying that instead of this, time after time after time. Now in my submission, I pointed out the smaller incinerators for the smaller communities, which can be, you know, from what I read, one-man bands. If we get to a point where AFA, what are they going to do with the rubbish? It will just pile up in the street. If you've got something down there that can be used, what's your uncle? We don't need a massive great incinerator. Everybody here was misled by previous people who set up meetings and stood back and watched the chaos unfold and just giggled at everybody. They didn't participate. And then we had another meeting here where another company turned up. I think you were here actually. And they were from Manukau, weren't they? They were dreadful. And everybody got the frights. You don't need a massive incineration plant. You don't need people running around behind bloody Bailey's lorries screaming, it's waste, it's waste. You just need a small plant for your own problem. And then that goes in the ground or whatever. It doesn't leach. It's not toxic. It's not going to ruin the atmosphere. Plants are advancing yearly, daily even. There is a answer. It's whether we're brave enough to accept it. Because we can't keep living in the past. We've had 172 years of living in the past. We've got to take a step forward. Somebody's got to be brave enough. I mean, there's waste to energy out there already. If the Greens in Wellington can do it, we're using waste management here, they're doing it elsewhere. Why are we missing out? We can't continually have a hole in the ground. Because in reality, saying we've always done it this way, it's just a road to failure. There is a future. Somebody's got to be brave, and if it's not this council, be the next council or the council after, because we're already doing waste to energy. People have just got to get used to it. We've all been to Europe. There's what, 300 waste to energy plants in Europe? I don't see anybody suffering any illnesses coming back from that. One of my favourite days out with my wife was to a nuclear power station, wasn't it? Yep. That was a good day out. We've all been to Europe, nuclear power stations, nobody's come to any harm, have they? I'm not saying we need a nuclear power station. I'm not saying we need a big incinerator. But what I'm saying is we've all been there. And then we come back here and get all hypocritical. Ooh, not in my backyard. You can have it somewhere else, but not suffer. I mean, the CE's just come from Brisbane. They've got a big incinerator. Poor lady's not got 2 heads and 6 fingers, has she? Right. Just got to accept. We've got to accept that the future, we've got to catch up. We're in the 21st century. We're not back in the days of the luminaries, are we? I mean, I read this afternoon on my way here, Waste Management have got to sort out an old dump over there somewhere, 30,000 square metres of rubbish at the seawall. And first of all, they've got to move some skinks, what they're going to do, and then they've got to dig it out and put it somewhere else. We've got that problem here, haven't we? We don't, and we don't want to add to it, do we? We want to take it away.
Certainly adding to it doesn't solve the problem, it just moves it.
No, I mean, I'm just talking about minimalisation in the future and helping each other out. We don't need a big plant. We don't need a big hole in the ground either, because we don't need to be like twinned with Chernobyl because we're the toxic sisters. That's all I've got.
No, that's excellent, thank you Les for that, and thank you for taking the time to come and talk to us and bring the examples.
I'll watch, it's quite a good film.
Yeah.
we're going to have to shoot off because we're compromised for time. We've got something else to do.
That's right, that's right. I appreciate you making the time and coming in because it's a good submission and it's thought provoking and we do need to, we can't keep kicking the can down the road. We've got to look at it and see what the future, how we're going to run this in the future. We've got to do it at some stage. So it's a matter of saying, well, you know, we're up for it now and we need to do some more homework or where we go. We've also got neighbours that have got the same problems, so.
If we work with Ray and work together sensibly, we could work together for the benefit of these two areas. I mean, Buller, they're on their own, you know, it's too far away to make a difference and they're sending their stuff to Nelson and there you go, aren't they? We're wasting my money sending it to Canterbury when we can do something positive. Even if we can't do it now, we could at least try biogas and try something that's better and then work to the future because I hate to say it, if we don't like it now, somebody's going to end up building a plant and we're going to end up burning it.
Yeah, it's definitely going to happen in the future. It's a matter of when.
It's got to. All right.
Good. Thank you very much, Les.
All right, see you later on.
Okay. Thanks, Louise. And thank you for your submission too.
No worries.
Cheers, folks.
Thank you.
Back to you, Will.
Submission, over the council, this is Mayor and Bridget
Well, the thing is, though, is that we've got in here to what we've already recognised to pass, instructing staff to make desired amendments to the draft plan based on the submissions. Is there a gap between that and some more information?
Most of the submissions were around having additional services. A lot of them were around rural, I mean, it wasn't that submission.
Yeah.
A lot of them were around trying to get rural curbside collection. We could do that. That's quite expensive because you know, you're sending trucks 20, 30 kilometres away to try and get waste. There are some items here around chemical container collection. We already have that at the land, up at the transfer station. There's some about barrage wrapping, that's available through plastic. We're looking into lithium recycling, just brought in tyre wires so that tyres can be deposited free here at the transfer station. We're always looking for improvement. With regard to acid and that Liz talking about, our landfills are that small. It's a lot of infrastructure for not a lot of output, unfortunately. It's less than a hectare in size itself, so the gas production is very, very minimal. You don't have to have it for got bigger, you'd have to have it for resource consent requirements, but we don't actually have it. We're always looking at ways to reduce our waste, so that's pretty much what I'm saying.
If there was an opportunity to incorporate greys with ours, would that make a difference to performance?
Possibly due to size, maybe you get a larger amount of waste that you can utilise in different ways. Personally, and I'll say personally, that's I agree with some of this. If you go out there to landfill, there's a lot of wasted energy there, a lot of plastic sort of stuff in the landfill, but we just haven't got the infrastructure here to do it. There's something.
I went and met with a local person last year, invited me up for a very discreet demo of biogas made out of waste. And he had members of the dairy company on site as well. So it was really interesting and they were actually quite interested in it too because the different types of waste can be brought together. And that also includes when I say food waste, I'm not talking edible food, I'm talking the exterior cavities and stuff, which might go to pigs. But there was an awful lot of different variations to fuel that could go into that and contribute towards it. So the biggest thing that was in his way was funding. I'm actually wondering whether this waste management we should have potentially put on regional deals, looking at partnering with our neighbours.
Which we are, which is why we've got to join.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just something we probably could have put through with a wider look through the lens without wasting time.
Certainly, I know the countries with biogas, it's fairly heavily subsidised by the government. So it's, I don't know that there's a like-for-like comparison to be made once the subsidies are available.
That's the scope of it.
And we've got a lot of small landfills. If you want an energy source, you want a concentrated resource in one place that you can harvest, not a whole heap of things in the different places that you've got a lot of.
Precisely, the big landfills they're talking about, they do more in a day than we do in a year.
Yeah.
That's the quantity.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we're always looking for improvements, which we are.
Through the chair, understand what Mr. Moore was talking about, you open minds, nothing wrong with technology is changing. Of course, you have to recognise it of the community and the will of the community, and whether or not the community is misled or not is another thing. We have to be also be aware, of course, that the waste energy company who tried for here have already been kicked out of Westport, kicked out of Reef, kicked out of Waimangi now. We're not one. But however, also aware that in the past, Maureen Pugh went to Singapore, I think, to check out that.
There's a difference as well between incinerating waste, just to dispose of it more efficiently, and then using it for time-lapse and energy as well.
I don't think it was ever just a matter of just a big incinerator.
No.
We always talked about the energy as well. Which was allocation.
One thing you said that did interest me is whether people opt for different bin sizes and just do very.
No, I wrote that down. It's something we can look at. Maybe a bit of more administration, but I can't see why it couldn't. Well, as long as the trucks and grabbing there's no issue.
Yes.
And he obviously does very well with his waste. He's got his recycling bin out since Christmas and what that, so we get suited.
Because I certainly know that mine doesn't always go out and sometimes
We're recycling to pick up on everything.
you've got a single pensioner living by themselves versus a family of 6 or something like that, it'd be sensible for people to be able to opt for small, medium or large.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you look into that?
Logically, for the small bin, the prices are going to hit you up significantly for the large bins, aren't they? Because all of a sudden.
I'd have to work through it.
Well, because a lot of it would be the truck move that's going to get the bin, whether they're empty or not.
Phil, is it an option for low users like Liz to opt out of the service completely? I know she's in your house, you can opt in, so they can opt out and go to a private provider should they think the value for money's there. And I assume the value for money's not there given they haven't made that move. What was that? I assume the value for money of going to the private model versus the public or rate funded model is not.
Our model is a split cost there. We pay for collection, disposal and operation of the public landfill comes directly out of household rates, so it's a split. I can't say that it's cheaper or not, I promise you.
I think what I would probably see it shift the other way.
Because that's the other thing that's lacking is, of course, the glass collection, because we get everything else collected and everybody has screens of bottles, and the other complaint is the cost of actually taking stuff up to the dump and dropping off. So
Glass collection's coming in July.
it's way away.
So when I take my glass to the Our Road landfill or dump a bottle in the one at the supermarket there, where does that glass go at the moment?
It goes to AI and
Right.
transport, and it will continue to do that. It's packed into big containers and shipped.
Yeah. So we clearly have that glass going. So what's the gap between just having, is just the cost of collecting curbside glass?
No, that's coming in July.
Yeah.
There's a cost to it.
Yeah.
I think we've also got a lot more education to do with this as far as the community goes. Because what a lot of people, when I'm talking to people, they don't understand is the contamination factor. Throwing stuff, recyclable stuff in dirty contaminates the whole load, goes to landfill. So it's getting that message across to people understand, because more people are interested all the time in recycling, but they actually don't understand what's involved. And once you're involved, you make a commitment or you don't. You either contribute to bag waste or you don't.
In terms of the stick, is there any penalty for actually contaminating your waste? There's spot inspections of bins and that sort of stuff, aren't there? Yeah.
There's no collector.
Yeah.
That runs around with a stick looking at your bin.
That's just random, though, isn't it? It's not every time the brother.
I think
It's not all events and it's not all streets all the time. It is random, but it's not recycled.
But they know the repeat offenders. They
We
know
arranged that
who's-
project was easy on to because we have one of the issues happen.
Earl, do we think you'll come back to us in March or April, or do I say May, by the time you talk to Inga, got away, and look at this, after 2 months return?
I expect they have, I think you'll reply back next month.
All right, so just on that, what are we seeking Earl to come back with next month? Anything else on top of the draft? Is there any other information that's required?
For me, it's stuff.
Yeah, well, that's natural, because that's part of the submission process.
She has submitted, so.
So,
Sorry.
yes,
I was just going to say, yeah, I don't know how long it would take to look at other councils or just see what the options are in terms of variable bin options and what the cost and everything.
But that's an operational matter, that's not necessarily to do with waste minimisation.
Okay.
And we will look at that.
Yeah.
so getting back to the plan, is there any other information that council require for Earl to bring back or include with the draft that will be presented back to us next month?
What does the vision actually do? If we have a vision, we put it on a wall somewhere and then what? Do the sign of the cross each day? What does the vision actually sort of?
You do that?
No.
The vision is
The vision is to minimise and manage waste. And
and it's how we implement that into a plan that we follow.
No,
Yes.
why have a vision? I'm curious as to what that actually achieves in
Yes.
terms of bringing
I know.
costs down or anything like
As
that.
we're striving towards helping the environment and reducing the cost of makeup.
And it's all good to have a vision, is what you're saying, but it's a matter of implementing it and actually doing it is the difference.
Yeah, it's very motherhood and apple pie. I just
Yes.
don't know what it actually usefully
Yep.
achieves, that's
Yep.
all. But
So it frames the strategy, in the plan.
it still
Yes.
sounds like something vaguely,
Yes.
vague, but anyhow.
So it's up to
I'll
us
take your word for
to,
it.
to make sure that it is part of the plan. So we're taking, there's no other information, sorry,
Just
Councillor
one
Neil.
question, I think one of the submitters said something about a community evening for information and discussion. Would that be a possibility, and would that be better before come back to us?
You want it back in March?
Would you mean that that's an extension to the submission period?
In effect, and it's also getting information out there to the public, which is part of.
I think we could probably do that at any stage.
Through the chair, can I just suggest that, because I think those are really valuable feedback processes from the community about what we could do better, particularly around community education and awareness. I would suggest that we shouldn't hold up the paper coming back to you in March, but what we could do is look at perhaps providing a strategy around how we do a community awareness education type approach that focuses on these types of things like evening workshops, better communication that's readable in terms of, simpler but more succinct out to people, that might be a more useful tool that we could bring back rather than trying to hold up the paper. If you could take that on board, if that's useful.
The councillors, if you have ideas that you might put through to me, more costings or whatever on those ideas, put them through to me in the next week or so, and I'll do my darndest to get some information back to you.
And the costings was something that everybody was commenting on as a comparison. Is that something that we are requesting from Earl? Just so we've got that cost comparison? What we've been doing versus the submissions and the costs that would be incurred. Yeah. So if you could take that as the action from it then, Earl. And I think Barb's suggestion too, as far as education and communications, is a valuable one. And
We do that, we have paper for trees, we go with the Enviro schools.
yes.
There's lots of stuff on our website, publish stuff quite regularly, so we can do more of that. So,
Thanks, Earl. Is everybody quite happy with where we have that at? All right, you've got the action of that, and then we'll follow through with the educational stuff, right? Done? Yes, yes, doing that, that's coming. Maybe to the list of places housekeeping matters. Okay, lovely. Yeah, thanks, Earl. Oh, sorry, cousin Beck.
Just one more related meeting,
Oh,
yeah,
yes. It's been a concert.
yeah.
Okay, thanks, Earl, very much for that. Greatly appreciated. So now we'll go back to item 7, federal funding. We've got Jan and Kate here to present to us. Thanks, team. And that's page 1415 on your agenda.
Good afternoon, Your Worship and Council. Yes, we just want to share a presentation for the federal funding that's been completed towards the end of last year. So I'll run you through all the projects and all the financials of the project. So in 2022, Council received 2.79 million in tranche 1 better off funding. Council split this across 5 different portfolios and proposed to deliver 73 projects throughout the Western District. In April 23, there was 2 large council projects that required more funding to be completed. The council resolved to reallocate the entire township development fund of $690,000 towards the swimming pool stage 2 project and $260,000 of the community hall funding to the Carnegie strengthening project. In December 2023 and in June 2024, there were further minor reallocations made due to some projects being completed under budget or not starting up and that sort of thing. There are swimming pool and Carnegie fit-out budgets which also added in June 2024. So we've got a breakdown of the funding. Community halls received $900,000. Township development was $690,000 that went to the pool. $200,000 to community resilience, $500,000 to culture and heritage, and $500,000 to community funding. On the community halls project, the first one was completed, obviously the 260 from the community hall funding towards the Carnegie strengthening project, which was completed in 2023, which took the Carnegie building to 100% NBS IL2. The Ross swimming pool was added later. There was some structural concerns on the steel wall frames and the steel structure of the swimming pool structure, and temporary repairs was done on the steel frames. There is a further project in the LTP to do further works on that. That was $40,000 spent. Fox Glacier Hall included installing an accessibility car park at the entrance of the Fox Glacier Hall. At Warraroa Hall, 2 new heat pumps were installed in the main hall area. The Ross Community Hall had asbestos containing cladding on 2 sides of the community hall, so that was tested, removed and replaced. Also some minor interior repairs done on the doors, some painting, and one of the piles that was problematic was completed. At Okuru Hall, a detailed seismic assessment was done to understand the seismic standing of the hall. A few of these community halls also got further projects in the next LTP to do seismic upgrades that follows up from the news reports that were done. Also, a gas installation, water heaters and water boiler was installed at the Okuru Hall. Franz Joseph Community Hall, we've done a detailed seismic assessment and also a geotech report because there's some sagging on the one side of the community hall. We've also done a design for the repairs of that work at the Haas Community Hall. A detailed seismic assessment was completed. There was some work done on the windows, entrance veranda was replaced and a new lock burner was installed. White Tower Hall had a backup water tank fed from the roof of the hall together with a filtration system and UV light installed. There was also some minor repair work done on the bathroom doors and the fire escape handrail, which needed doing. Te Rangi Hall, council contributed $8,200 towards a project that the community was busy with, and they had a shortfall, so we contributed towards that project, which included some cosmetic repairs and things at the hall. The Cockatoo Hall also underwent a detailed seismic assessment, so we've got that report. Also did some upgrade to the electrical installation. They had very old freezers. The electrical distribution board was in a very poor state, so that's all been fixed up, repaired and replaced. There's also some vinyl carpets and flooring installed at the kitchen and the meeting rooms, and new lighting in the meeting room. The Hokitika Regent Theatre did significant work on their exterior maintenance. They also included a new CCTV system and a fire safety system and a performance lighting upgrade. The welfare civil defence project was turned into a civil defence container for Okurito. So screw piles was installed with a civil defence container installed on top of the screw piles for flooding and earthquake events. The Grey Power Wall also received some funding, and we replaced some of the sliders and the windows in the Grey Power Wall. The next project was a culture and heritage project. There's a few different projects. It included the 150 years of connection website, new Western Industrial Heritage Park website, Hokitika brochure design, the 100 years of aviation website and event, the Otura Tunnel commemoration, and the Jackson's Bay sesquicentennial. The Regent Theatre also had some funding towards that. They did exterior building lighting, main auditorium LED lighting and display, and multi area lighting and foyer area. The next one was the town clock. We've done a detailed seismic assessment which showed the structure as being earthquake prone. We've also done a engineering design so that we can do costing and planning for a future project to strengthen the town clock. The Western Industrial Heritage Park had $2,000 allocated, and they basically put up two new sheds, the heavy machinery building and the boat shed building, which was completed towards the end of last year. The Heritage Park is showing quite significant growth, and yes, this obviously helps assist that growth. The Carnegie fit-out budget, there was $50,000 allocated towards this project, and that specifically went to the external project management of the Carnegie fit-out. The Kurupona is still open, and it's still in progress in the final fit-out project. Under community resilience, this went to civil defense, and there's various Starlink kits, VHF radios, and small mobile generators installed throughout the communities. Township development went towards the swimming pool. That was the 680,000 rand towards the stage 2 redevelopment project, which was completed last year. And then lastly, community funding, Bruce Bay Hall at $40,000, and that went towards work on their flooring, vinyl kitchen flooring, and electric windows was replaced. The Fox Glacier Arboretum that was opened in May 2024, so that's open and running. The area civil defense plant had a water backup tank that was installed. Also, dried food supplies was sourced, and in May 2024, we scoped up the solar installation at the community hall. Lake Erie had 2 civil defense containers installed at Sunnyby and Hans Bay. So they're up and running at the moment. Lazar Park, that's one of the projects that did not get completed. The original project involved extending the hall to accommodate a larger commercial kitchen, and address some structural strengthening work at the hall. At the time, they required significantly more funding than what was available, and that project got cancelled. Most of the funding went towards designs, consenting, and planning. The Gentle Annie track in Kumara has been completed and the Scouts Pass track, so that's open and running. And then some money went towards the West Coast Riding for Disabled, so that's on the electrical side to install the electrical installation for the new indoor riding area, and the surfacing of the indoor riding area was completed as well. Then the Ross Civil Defence Hub had a backup water tank installed, and the Artura Civil Defence Hub also had a civil defence, an additional civil defence container installed in Artura. Whakaroa Civil Defence infrastructure included some two shipping containers, also included generators and electrical installation to power up the school. The one container is at the hall and the other container is at the fire station. And then at Kumara there was also a civil defence container. So just a summary of the costs. The budgets and what was spent. So there's $154,629,000 saving on the project. In July 2024, Crown Infrastructure Partners instructed council that where there were funds or savings made from different projects, this remaining funding was to be allocated to water-related projects. So that 154,000 is proposed to go to the Livingston Street pump and reticulation upgrade project, which is 50% loan funded and 50% depreciation funded. And the amount allocated towards that will reduce the loan funding from $750,000 to $595,000. So yes, that's the Better Off funding projects completed. I'll open up the questions if there are.
It's a lot of projects in a very short period of time. A lot of projects, so yeah, well done to the team that's been involved with that, because it's a lot to oversee at once. And a lot of it's come back to the council table at times, so we've got a pretty good insight. Councillor Davidson.
Yeah, just on the design work, for an example, down on the Haast Hall, what does that mean?
So firstly, we've done a detailed site assessment, which gives us the seismic capabilities of the hall. Ours, for instance, is earthquake prone. All of the halls that we've done has been classified as earthquake prone. So we now have a set date by which seismic strengthening needs to be done. And we've also done an engineering design so that we can take that design, get it costed by a contractor so that we can see what the cost would be to do that strengthening, which enables us to plan a strengthening project over the next 2 years now that we've got a deadline and we know what the work entails.
So that you'll come back to us with that?
Yes, that's not just doing the assessments and the engineering designs was part of this project, but we've got further project scope up in the next RFP for the works.
Thank you.
Councillor Vernon.
I just want to thank the staff for the work put into the projects, not only actually managing the projects, but all the reporting. I know there's been a huge amount of work that had to happen behind the scenes, so well done.
Yeah, Paul, sorry.
Yeah, well, an awful lot of work in there, which is wonderful. We can't forget, of course, that this is the end of the free money. You're not going to see this again. Grant Robertson's money-making machine has been shut down, and there won't be any more. And so whilst it's great payers, it's great to see this spend up as taxpayer, not so great, is it? So,
Well, ratepayers, yes.
As taxpayers, it's not so good because it's what's hitting us right now.
Yeah,
I think just add to that, you guys have done fine work, and not to take anything away from that, but I mean, to me, this just seemed like a bit of a farce and a con. The whole reason that Three Waters was going to happen in the first place was because the water infrastructure around the country is clapped out. Close to $3 million would have gone a long way towards the wastewater treatment or something like that. That's been 910 million, it's a big part of $1 billion on these sorts of projects around the country. And you know what? Some money's come in, but we're all taxpayers that have sent a lot of money out as well.
And our water infrastructure still needs to put in the work.
Yes, it does, but a point on that is that one of the conditions with that funding was that it wasn't spent on.
Seems a bit ridiculous.
I know, but that was one of the stipulations with it, and you have to wonder what the reasoning was behind that, because a logical place to spend it would have been on upgrading water
Yeah,
systems.
I mean, we've fixed up some halls that are 15 minutes away from each other, and
I
that's
know,
lovely.
I know,
But,
I know, but there's a
this just
contradiction.
seems absolutely nuts. Anyway,
You just have to remember who was making the rules.
But, you know, we can't turn the clock back, we all acknowledge the flaws that are there and the costs that go with it, but it's important that we get it right going through and we don't actually
well done managing
succumb
the
to.
project, it's not your fault.
Yeah,
Far
we don't
out.
succumb to these lollies that are dangled in front of us, I don't think there's going to be any, but if they do. Paul?
Yeah, just one comment there. Sorry, Worship, now that we've done our vote on this, and the Carnegie building, which has been the benefactor of some of this, of course, and it's still not complete, and we've still got to do windows, and the rotting, that we missed out from all of this work. What do we have an estimate of how much that's going to cost to repair those windows and how we pay them?
That's a separate report that I think is due to us next month, is it?
The museum.
Or we can have it put on for next month.
Well, kind of, I raise it.
Yes, but we don't have the answers now, so we can get the answers to us because it's very important we keep a finger right on that pulse.
Absolutely.
Very important.
Because someone dropped the ball with assessing the state of the Carnegie building, they didn't bother to look at the state of the windows.
So perhaps we can put that as something for the next meeting, next month.
Look, we did scope up the window work, and that is part of the next LPP, so that is part of the capital project.
It'd be interesting to see how much
Yeah,
that
it would
floats up
be.
to.
It would be interesting to have that come to us before we go out. Okay.
Just to clarify, we've spent all of our off funding now, is that right?
There was 178,000, 154 left over, which went back into the.
No, I accept that, I'm just curious as to whether
Yep,
it's covered or
no,
not.
yes, projects are complete.
Do you need a motion of council to reallocate that 154,000? Jan spoke of it as.
It was a condition, wasn't it, that anything was left over? Yes. Pretty sure that was a condition on the funding, that anything was left over, that's where we, although we might not spend money on those sort of things up front, so.
I just want to, as a final close up to the board, just say thanks to Kate. She was instrumental in getting this project completed. She kept an eye on the overall budgets and communications to the various communities. So even though I was involved with a lot of the work on the ground, Kate was instrumental to getting this completed.
Brilliant, thanks Kate very much, and nice to see you acknowledging the team as well, so that's brilliant. We like how you work, good. Excellent, thanks guys very much. So before we finish totally on that, can I just have someone move and second please that the presentation be received? Councillor Phelps moves, second Councillor Gillette, all in favour?
Aye.
Yes, carried, thank you. Thanks guys very much.
Yeah, thanks.
Right, next up we have the finance performance. Please, Lindley, welcome.
Good afternoon, Your Worship, councillors. Through Your Worship, I present the financial report as at the 1st of January 2025. I'll take it as read, but there are a couple of additional comments I would like to make on the report, both good news. Firstly, the 398k spent on road maintenance from emergency work. Been advised by the Transport Manager that there is a claim in for that now for 100% actually. The Freedom Camping debt, we have since received $172,500, and on Tuesday we received an email that they accepted the final report, so there will actually be an additional 28k invoice going out. So now through Your Worship, I'll take any questions.
Questions, please.
On the back of the Freedom Camping comments there, 172 has come in, 28 still to come in. Does that leave us with 175 of debt against the line for yet to be paid money against the invoice on the 6th of November last year?
There is still an additional, I think, 240.
700, yeah.
plus what hasn't been invoiced. Yes, that is it.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Just making sure we're going to honour that invoice. Cool.
Councillor Connect.
Just a comment on page 65 on the debtors. There's a grants debtor of 19,000. That relates to the Custom House Restoration Project invoice to Heritage Arkitika. That debt is no longer there. That's been removed. It should never have been invoiced. It's a complete debacle by Western District Council. So just making a comment that that 90k is vanished.
That's right, that's recognised as a comment.
Through
So
which,
that will be, yep.
I did check the notes on this, but I couldn't quite find the explanation for it. The expenditure being 8% up on what was expected and the services deficit being 91%. That's what the reason.
Sorry, can you-
Oh, sorry, it's page. First page, it's called. Just revenue expenditure and service deficit, just the variations in the expected expenditure and service deficit.
What page is that?
It's 57 of the council agenda.
Yeah, and have you got a specific note number reference on?
No, I checked the notes and sorry, I couldn't understand it, so I was just wanting to know what the reason was for the expenditure being 8% more than the initial budget, which was 20 million, and then the deficit of 2.9 million versus the forecast.
Yeah, no, most of the answers should be within page 80 of the report. For that, it's a composition of various expenses and revenue amounts.
Earl, I can't, sorry, look, it's from your report, but I'm just a question, Earl, I can't remember whether I asked last time, that disposal levies that we're over with, have we got an estimation of where we think that's going to be at the end of the tourism season? Because if we're 75k over now, due to higher than expected tourism numbers, have we got is that going to be up around the 100k over? I'm just trying to get my head around costs, I think I've mentioned that before. That's related to the tourism. I know it's not the least part of the budget, but it's related to what the report
Yes,
is.
it probably will be quite a bit higher. Just we're monitoring as it goes along, but we can't actually do a lot of that.
Okay, so I might have to wait till the end of the
It's
session to get it.
it's an unfortunate product of the successful tourism scheme.
Yeah. But it's one where we've got to put that forward thinking into how we manage that further. And that's, yeah, sorry, so I'll have another conversation with you about what your perceived implications are because we've put in for tourism infrastructure and the regional deals, but I want to make sure it covers these sort of requirements because we're the region that's impacted the most. So I'll catch up with you there. Yes, exactly. So anything further for Lindley, please? Nothing further? No questions? No clarification? All right. So the financial performance report for 31st of January 2025 needs to be received, and I will move and second please for that resolution. Councillor Glett, Councillor Casson, thank you very much. All in favour? Gary, thanks Lindley very much. Thank you. All right. Carl, very name, the new subdivision of Silver Road Street. I see Carl.
The other one. Good afternoon, Worship, councillors, Iwi. It's a fairly straightforward resolution here. So I'll take the report as read and ask for any questions.
Well, I'm happy to move that we take up the recommendation of the name change to East Cameron Lane.
Yeah.
One question?
No, second.
Third it.
Okay.
We're still in the council
Can you
bits.
move it?
Yes, I said I'm happy to move.
Okay.
All in favour?
Aye.
Am I cutting anybody short of questioning, challenging? No?
I assume the submitter's not here because there's 3 names put forward, only one can legally fly.
He did ask to speak, and I didn't think it was going to be a problem with council, the neighbour. So with that, he was happy to leave it. He was only going to come and think he might have had a struggle. It was an interesting history that he did, reiterate to me, and it's quite nice that we can recognise some of those earlier players in our community. Yeah. So right. So we have a movement to second with that. Got that. So all in favour to receiving the report and council adopting the name of the new road in the subdivision as Liz Cameron Lane. Okay. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you. It's the quickest report you've had, Carl. Thanks very much. Right, next on the agenda is the Harry Harry Water Treatment Plant budgetary allocation adjustment, please, Bill.
Yes. Leadership, councillors, that report has read.
What's wrong with the water?
It's not being really treated at the moment.
Still here.
What?
Still here. We've been drinking.
We know you've been drinking, everybody.
You do meet the odd 95-year-old smoker as well, Brian.
Right, do we have any questions, any points of clarification required? No? Happy to move it. Councillor Neal? Councillor Worden, thank you very much. The resolution is the report be received. Council approves the funding for the Harry Harry Water Treatment Plant project be brought forward to this financial year so work can proceed to restore water quality to the legislative standard. Moved and seconded. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you very much. Thanks, Earl. Right. So next on the agenda is the future delivery options for water services. Who is Alicia?
She's on her way.
Down as 205, and we're now 205. Here she is. Alicia, welcome. Sorry, we were behind. No, you're right up now, and we've caught up. So welcome to the podium. Take your breath, get your breath back. You've run up the stairs. So when you're ready, and you've got your breath back, the floor is yours, Alicia. Welcome.
Through the chair, we would like to present a report for the future delivery options for water services. So this includes water supply, wastewater and stormwater. Under the new local government water-down well legislation, we don't have the option of continuing with the status quo, so we need to progress with the delivery option. In the report, table 1 provides you an overview of the service delivery options. My understanding is that you've had some initial conversations on this topic last year with Scott, previous acting CE. Appendix 1 provides you an evaluation of each option. This gives you a framework on governance, ownership, risk implementation, long-term risk and financial sustainability. This report recommends proceeding with an internal business unit. We have the option to do consultation alongside this within the long-term plan or separately to the long-term plan. Bearing in mind we need to write a water services delivery plan by the 3rd of September, so it would be ideal for us to do this alongside the long-term plan. So if you have any questions.
Questions, please, for Alicia. Councillor Collette.
I was just going to say, Alicia, it's an excellent report and the outcome is exactly what I would prefer. I think the idea of creating another CCO is bonkers. We're still grappling with what we currently have. I think the water done better is smoke and mirrors in the current regime without effectively just borrowing more money anyway. So I think the idea of doing it internally and just funding it ourselves is great. We'll go alone. I fully support it and good job.
As it pretty much is today.
Right, thank you, Councillor Collette. Good comments to the team, to Alicia and the team that have been involved with us. Has anybody got any further questions? Points of clarification, councillor Kesson?
On the back of this status quo comment, what will be the day-to-day change that you suspect is portraying other staff to see? You won't be, any of you will still be paid by Western District Council, they'll still work out of Western District Council, they'll still look after all the same assets and infrastructure. And we call it a business unit instead of a council department, and that's the fundamental change of 5 years of uncertainty for them.
Through the chair, what it does do is it ring fences all the income and outgoings into a business unit. So yes, essentially they will report through the same reporting lines, but they will be financially separated from council.
Yes, certainly.
Through the chair, can I also just say we do need to determine a governance arrangement for this position. We'll have to be treated completely separately, even though it's internal, but we can bring that through as part of it.
Right. And that's a statutory requirement, the establishment of this.
Through the chair, some of it is still like being updated in the legislation at the moment. So what I've provided you is everything we know today, and as more stuff comes through, I'll be providing some more information if there's more decisions that need to be made.
Councillor Kesson?
Can we just take a moment to reflect on the horrible experience all of the functional staff and operational team have been through in the last, 5 years going through this process of uncertainty, and it's been pretty horrible for a lot of them.
Yes.
And now we see no change, which I mean is a great outcome, but what a hell of a process to get through to turn up on Monday in the same office, being paid by the same person, doing the same thing, and all that, like, what a joke, and there's a lot of other words I could use, but I won't.
No, fair comment.
The whole country.
In the whole country, yes. And the cost of mind that the mental implications to everybody that's involved has been significant, to say the least. So to that extent, we're very grateful to the team we have on board that they've weathered this, frustrated to hell as they have been, and challenged. We do appreciate your stickability and your focus on the overall cause. That's why we're not knowing where we're going, been going. All right, any further questions or points of clarification for Alicia or anyone wishes here? No? Gosh. All right. So with that, the resolution is that the report be received. 2, that council approves to progress with the establishment of an internal business unit for the delivery of water services with an expectation that the model is consulted on in conjunction with the 2025-2034 long-term plan and decision paper is brought back to council post-consultation. And 3, that council notes the requirements for Western District Council for local water done well legislation, including delivery of a water services delivery plan and changes to requirements for water service delivery. Happy to move. Councillor Kesson moved. I have seconded, please. Councillor Gillette, all in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you very much. Thanks, team, for your time.
Cheers.
Thank you very much. Right, next on the agenda is the administrative resolution, the warrant of appointment, the risk control officer. I'll take that as read. Barbara, you wanting to talk to this at all?
No, I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Okay. The resolution is that council confirm its seal by affixing to the following document, which you've all read and seen in front of you, a warrant of appointment. Do I have a move and a seconder, please? Councillor Kesson, Councillor Baird, all in favour? Harry, thank you very much. Next on the agenda is the resolution to go into public excluded. Resolution is that council move into public excluded section at 2:13. A move and a seconder, please. Councillor Phelps, Councillor Manera, all in favour? Thank you. Right, we will, sorry, thank you, Greg, for your attendance today. Thank you. So thank members of the public for viewing the live stream today and your attendance at the meeting. We appreciate your involvement, and we'll be disconnecting from the Zoom link. So thank you.